Hey everyone, it's Kristen Maka with Futurity First Insurance Group, and welcome to Kristen's Nuggets of Knowledge. Today, in honor of President's Day, which was a few days ago, we will be discussing the history of Medicare and talking about some of the presidents that helped Medicare along the way get started. Now, I know a lot of people don't think that history is important, but come on. If you were to purchase your own insurance, you'd want to research the company, the product. You would also do that for any big purchase that you would buy. So why would Medicare be any different from that? Woo! Woo! All right, are you ready to learn? I know I am. Buckle in and let's learn about some Medicare history. Shall we? I'd like to welcome you to my home office. If you guys saw my last video, you probably can tell that I enjoy props. Now, going over history kind of limits myself to the amount of props that I can have, but thankfully in grade school we got these awesome rulers, and on the back side, yay, look at this! All the presidents. Now I know it's dating myself because the last person on this list here is Bush Sr., but it's a really nice tool to have. Nowadays, people come from all over the world to live here in the United States. But way back when, for the most part, we all came from Europe. And because of that, we followed a lot of the European styles. In Europe, there are a lot of different countries that started a universal health system either in the late 1800s or the early 1900s. So it seemed very proper that sometime soon we would follow suit. Some kind of a universal healthcare system started in the Progressive Era with Teddy Roosevelt. His belief was that a country could not be strong if its citizens were poor and sick. It wasn't until President Taft's turn, though, that in 1912 pulled together and created a welfare type of program. The next president to be vocal on the subject was FDR, followed though by Harry Truman. Harry Truman's presidency happened during the Cold War, and the language of having socialized medicine came off as a communist or socialist idea, and there was a lot of anti-communist and anti-socialism movements happening during that time. So unfortunately, that notion of having any type of a universal health system fizzled out really quick. Now, Truman didn't get much traction, but that little seed of inception was started. We had a snowball about this big, and by 1960, it had rolled down the hill and was now about this big. In 1960 to 63, under Eisenhower and Kennedy, we see that the Kerr-Mills Law starts gaining some attention. Though it was very, very poor as far as the quality of care, and out of the 50 states that were around, by 1963, after the law had been around for quite some time, only 32 states had adopted this. The last really big push for Medicare actually happened with Lyndon B. Johnson. He was a firm believer in having coverage for those individuals 65 and older.
I'll spend the goddamn money. I may cut back some tanks, but not on health.
If you can remember one date out of this whole entire video, let it be the next date.
July 30th, 1965, in Independence, Missouri.
And a little fun fact, the first two individuals to receive their Medicare card were none other than Harry Truman and his wife, Bess.
He told me, President Truman, that if you wish to get the voluntary medical insurance, that you'll have to sign this application form. And they asked me to sign as your witness. So you're getting special treatment since cards won't go out to the other folks until the end of this month. But we wanted you to know, and we wanted the entire world to know, that we haven't forgotten who is the real daddy of Medicare.
This was the first time in our history that we were able to ensure not only the unhealthy, but also any individual 65 65 and older regardless of their income. In 1966, the coverage actually began. And in the first week, 1 million individuals signed up for it. And that whole year, they took in 19 million. In 1972, the government offered managed care programs. We know them as HMOs. And this is where the very beginnings of Medicare Part C started. The next real big thing to hit for Medicare Part C was actually in 1995, the government realized that they were going to run out of their trust budget for Medicare. And so in 1997, they were able to pass a law, the Balanced Budget Act.
In a few moments, I will sign into law the first balanced budget in a generation.
The Balanced Budget Act restructured Medicare and created a pricing structure for physicians to go by. On top of that, it expanded that managed care plan to be called Medicare Plus Choice. But Medicare Plus Choice was having a little bit of difficulty getting some traction, and in 2003 they expanded what these plans can encompass and shortened the name of it.
Now I'm honored and pleased to sign this historic piece of legislation. The Medicare Prescription Drug Improvement and Modernization Act of 2003.
It went from Plus Choice to just C. Super creative name, isn't it? Gets me every time. Part D, even though individuals were covered with prescription drugs and the donut hole was created and all that good jazz, Part D wasn't actually truly a thing until 2006. I really appreciate all of you for tuning in today for Kristen's Nuggets of Knowledge. I hope that your brain is full and satisfied. Even if this information doesn't pertain to you yet, please like, subscribe, share. You never know who may need this information. It could be your parents, it could be your aunt. You never know. But I want to be able to help as many people as I can with the knowledge that I have. And the only way that it can get out there is if people help. Next week, I am planning to be able to post live from vacation. Woo! Down in Mexico. Until then, take care. Thank you so much for watching.